In today's episode, we're going to talk about unexpected expenses. Guys, we all have them. The things you know will happen, but you just don't know when they will happen or how bad it will be. For example, what do you do if you find yourself in such a bad situation that something happened and you have to spend the money, but you are simply not ready for that expense? If so, next we're going to look at things that you can do to prepare yourself for any future unexpected expenses. There are things that we're in control of, and honestly, at the end of the day, God is watching over us. Hi, I'm Gabriela, and this is the Personal Finance and Coffee Podcast. On this channel, we talk about money, we talk about personal finance. How can we use the money that we work so hard to make to attain the goals that we want, so that we don't feel like 5 years later, 10 years later, we have worked and we feel like, where has all my money gone? I have not attained the things that I wanted to attain. Let us break this cycle. Let us find ways to invest the money that we have, to grow the money that we have, so that it can be of service to us, it can be of value to us. If this is something that you find valuable, if this is something you find interesting, please like this episode, please subscribe so you don't miss upcoming episodes. Let's get into the episode. So, today we are going to look at unexpected expenses. Life happens. We all make plans, but we only have so much control. As much as I am type A, I'm all planning and controlling, I honestly accept that literally, this is like as much as I'm literally not in control of anything. I only do what I can within my capacity. And once we are aware of this, once we appreciate this, there are unexpected expenses that come up. These are things that you would not see coming, that you did not expect. Now, there are things that we know will happen, we just don't know when. You get what I mean? The things you know will happen, but you just don't know when they will happen or how bad it will be. For example, you know that if you're driving a car, we pray every day, every time we walk out, that we don't get into an accident, that our car is not bashed and we have to repair it. But we know that it's something that could happen. We just never know if it will ever happen or when it will happen. We know that we could get sick. We know that there are things that we know. We know that our phone can be stolen. But it may never happen. So that's what I mean by unexpected expenses. We always pray, fingers crossed, that nothing happens. But it is something that could happen. So what do you do if you find yourself in such a bad situation that something happened and you have to spend the money, but you are simply not ready for that expense? From a phone being stolen, it could be a medical bill, it could be a loss in the family, something that is heartbreaking. It could be a medical expense, things that we did not expect but have happened and they require money. I'm going to share with you some of the steps that you can go through that can help you resolve this situation. But always keep in mind that these are ideas. Everyone's situation is unique and everyone's situation has to be adjusted to what is in your experience. What I do here is give you ideas, give you perspectives. You can go and find more ideas out there on YouTube, out there in content, or with your loved ones. Please take this as simply ideas to consider. It's not the only way to do things. There's so many ways to do things. So one of the first things that you can consider is to reprioritize your expenses. You started the month and you made a budget and you have certain things you had planned to spend money on. Things like a trip, things like the birthday that was coming up. When you find yourself in such a situation that is unexpected and needs you to fund it, the first thing you can do is reprioritize your budget. Change it to solve the situation that you are in. These budgets are not set in stone. And when you find yourself in a position of having to change it, it does not mean that you have failed to budget. It does not mean that budgets don't work. It is part of the process of going through life and learning. So if this happens, the first thing to do is reprioritize so that the funds that you had for other things are able to be directed to this unexpected expense. Now, if, for example, you are not in position or you don't have money to reprioritize or you've reprioritized but the money is not enough, the second thing that you can try is reaching out to friends and family. They may be able to help you in such a situation, give you a loan that is interest-free, that is short-term, that you can pay back, gradually. Reach out to people that can be of help. and they may come through or they may not come through. So that is the second thing that you can give a try. Now the third thing that you can also try is to request for a grace period on your bills. For example, you can request your landlord for a grace period, or you can say, this month maybe I'm not able to pay, but I will pay 2 months next month, and you have a grace period on your rent, so that you're able to use that money to cover your unexpected expense, for those that you're able to, depending on the situation that you're in. Or if you have bills that you can simply unsubscribe to, cancel the subscriptions. It could be TV, it could be Netflix, it could be any other service, it could be Spotify. Like, they add up. I know all those service provisions can cost a little bit, but when you add them up, perhaps you can also channel them towards your unexpected expenses. Another way that you can fund this unexpected expense is to get a personal loan. This should come like in that order, like last resort, because you may reach out to your friends and they can't help you, or your landlord is simply saying, pay me or I kick you out. Then that's when you go for a personal loan. If you're in a circle, you go to a circle. If you're salaried, maybe a salary loan. This is when you go for the loan to solve these unexpected expenses, especially in situations of life or death. There are things you simply cannot jump out of. So this is when you go for the personal loan. That's another way that you can solve your unexpected expense. What we're looking at right now is when you find yourself in that situation, how do you resolve it? How do you get things back in order? This is what we're going through right now. The last thing that I can say is that if this unexpected expense is not your personal unexpected expense, what do I mean? Sometimes it could be extended family that has an unexpected expense and something has happened in their lives. You can only help so much. You cannot go and get a personal loan because an extended family has had an emergency. Sometimes, as hard as it is, it may even look like you're simply inhumane, but there's power in saying no. You can say, and I feel for you, but this is only how much I am able to offer you. Because sometimes you can say no and you don't feel bad about it, because you're not going to get a personal loan that you don't have the income to service because you're bailing someone else out that is not your immediate person. So assess those unexpected expenses, especially when they are not directly involving you and your immediate family. There is power in saying no. Now, once all that is said and done, once you have made a decision on this is how I'm going to fund it, the next thing is to follow through with the plan that you have made. It's one, sometimes you say something and you don't do it, but pick the thing that you're going to do to finance this unexpected expenses, and then take action, solve the problem. Now, once you're at the point where, fine, now the waters have settled and everything is calm, you have cleared whatever the unexpected expense was. Now, how do you prepare yourself for the next event so that you don't find yourself in such a situation? When these life events happen to us, some people will pick lessons from them and they'll say, okay, this is what I learned, I will prepare like this, I will do this differently. But there are those who will simply continue, like, that's what I've survived. They continue as if it will never happen again. But this is life. Like I said in the beginning, things that are not entirely in our control. There are those that we can control and there are those that we cannot. So I don't think, in my opinion, that it is wise to simply let such lessons go without us taking action on how to improve in certain areas. But we're all different. So next we're going to look at things that you can do to prepare yourself for any future unexpected expenses. So the first step is to have in your budget, guys, I always come back to the budget, but in your budget you can have a miscellaneous item, an item for emergencies. Like, just every month you say, okay, I'm going to have like a 50k in case something happens. If I don't use it this month, then I add next month, like I save it and then I keep adding. That's the first step. In your budget, put an item for miscellaneous expenses. The second step that I would consider is to work towards building an emergency fund, saving up money that will, like, you may not be able to accumulate all the money at once, but when life is well, when you're in a good season, because life comes in seasons, there are seasons where all is well and there are seasons that are difficult. So when you're in a good season, Save up money in the like an emergency fund that you keep there to bail you out in such situations. Now, the next thing that I would recommend is that if you're planning something, always add like an extra, like 20%. Like don't budget exactly to the dot. For example, if you have maybe like a medical expense, or you have, always try to put in a buffer. That buffer could help you in the situation of things go over and above. But if they don't, this is now money that you can also set aside towards your emergency fund. The thing that you can consider is to have insurance for those events that could become unexpected expenses. And this only applies if you are in the financial position to pay for insurance. Because here in our country, Uganda, there are people who, you say insurance, they're like, no, they don't pay. But there are those who they've paid, and I know so many who have had those experiences, but I also know those who have not been paid. So if, for example, you have, like, what I would say for those that have been paid, they have brokers who are able to follow through for them, because you'll have a car situation and they will say, get a police letter. Like, you need a contact person in that can push all that, because sometimes you don't have the time to go through the process, so someone can do it for you. Now, the insurances that would be able to resolve such situations is having medical insurance would reduce the unexpected expense that is medical. Having car insurance, auto insurance, covers comprehensive, will cover in the event of a car accident, in the event of things like that. Life insurance, and here they talk about if you have a disability, for example. If you have a disability and you get into a border accident and now you can't walk anymore, and because you can't walk, it means you can't earn anymore, then they will give you a payout of a certain amount depending on how much you're paying every month to cover for that unexpected situation. Now, this is where insurance comes in for unexpected expenses. But like I said, insurance is an expense. And then there are those people who will say, but Gabi, I will pay insurance, I'll pay comprehensive, for 1 year nothing happens. And then another, nothing happens. And then another, nothing happens. Like I said, they are unexpected expenses. But when they happen, you prepare, the bill is huge. It's like it's a medical expense. You pay medical, you're not sick. Then you pay medical and then you're not sick. But then the bill comes, the situation happens, and the bill is huge. So this also applies only if you have the income. Only if you can afford to. So it's not for everyone, and I acknowledge that. There are some of these insurance packages that truly right now I cannot afford. It is what it is. But when I get money and I'm able to afford, there are those that I will consider to add into my my plan for unexpected expenses. Now, another thing that you can do to prepare for unexpected expenses is to create sinking funds. I have an episode about sinking funds. Now, what are sinking funds? This talks about setting aside money every month towards a specific expense. Let me give an example. You own your home, you're the owner. When your water pipe breaks, you will not call the landlord. You're the one to fix it. You don't know when it will break, but it could break, or anything else in your house. So, and of course, there's also wear and tear. You know, at some point you'll need to replace some things. So these are, for example, home expenses are things that can come unexpectedly, but you know it will happen, you just don't know when. So a sinking fund is saying that, okay, every month I'm setting aside 100K for these unexpected expenses. So for example, medical, because you're not able to afford, for example, medical, you may not be able to afford the insurance, but you can say, I afford this much. So you set aside this amount of money every month. Something else that I've also learned is that people who do sinking funds, when you're paying medical insurance or comprehensive insurance, you pay once a year. When you get that once a year amount and you divide it per month, and you find that you can afford that a monthly amount, you can use 1 year to save that much money every month. And then the next year, you say, okay, come 2026, 2025, every month I'm going to set aside this amount of money. And then in 2026, I will pay for my family's medical insurance. So you pay their medical insurance. You get what I mean? And then, but in 2026, you now consistently set aside money every month of that amount. So that come 2027, you're able to pay the medical insurance. That's if your job doesn't offer that service. Those are some of the ideas that I can give when it comes to sinking funds, that they can help you slowly work towards that process. Last thing that I want to talk about is some of the mindsets that can help you change your perspective when it comes to unexpected expenses. The first mindset I've talked about already. Life happens. We only can do so much when it comes to certain things. There are things that we're in control of, and honestly, at the end of the day, God is watching over us. There are things that will happen to us in our lives, and they will cost money, and they will happen. So the first mindset that we need is to accept that this can happen, and then it will make it possible to prepare for it, even when we feel like it gives you the motivation to prepare for such eventualities that you cannot foresee, if you're in position to do so. Another mindset that will help is that because something has happened in your life and your budget, and you feel like I'm going back financially, I've made so much progress, and now you feel bad, you're like budgeting doesn't work, it's not for me, let me leave it. This mindset of it's a learning process. There are things you may not have considered to be emergencies, but because you have gone through it, now you can work on your budget and improve it for such events. So it is not a failure to change your budget when they happen. It's part of the process. This mindset will keep you going even when they happen. That is a mindset that is important. But at the end of it all, we are all doing the best that we can. We are all doing the best that we can with the knowledge that we have, with the resources that are in front of us, and with what we are able to. So keep going, keep trying different versions until you find what works for you. If you found value in this episode, please like it, please subscribe so you don't miss upcoming episodes. I appreciate your time for watching up to this point, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye.